Good afternoon, Vande Mataram, Jai Hind. Today we are going to learn the State Legislative Assembly and Council, that is Vidhan Parishad and Vidhan Sabha. State Legislative Assembly means Vidhan Sabha and the Council means Vidhan Parishad. So without wasting time, let's start. So the state legislature is a legislative branch of the political subdivision, the state in India's case, in a federal system. As such, it occupies a central position in the polity of a state. In India, the Part 6 of the Constitution of India, Article 168 to 212 deals with the organization functions of the state legislature. Despite many similarities with the parliament at the central level, there are significant differences as well. So, the organization of the state legislature, the Article 168 deals with the constitution of legislature in the state. It says that for every state there will be a legislature which will consist of the governor, the legislative assembly and the legislative council in some states. The organization of state legislature is not uniform. Most of the states have unicameral, that means only have the legislative assembly, but some of the states have bicameral, that means they have the legislative council, that is Vidhan Parishad and the Vidhan Sabha. At present, only 6 states have the 2 houses, the bicamerals. These are the Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Maharashtra and Karnataka. Earlier, the Jammu and Kashmir was there, but after the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act 2019, it was removed. Though the Andhra Pradesh Legislative Assembly in January 2020 passed a resolution seeking to abolish the council, it will continue to transact business without any hindrance till both the houses of the parliament pass the bill for the same and the president give his assent to it. 22 states have the unicameral system, in which states legislature consists of the governor along with the state legislative assembly. In the states having a bicameral states, the state legislature consists of governor, legislative council, that is Vidhan Parishad, and the legislative assembly, Vidhan Sabha. The council is the upper house and Vidhan Parishad is the upper house and the second chamber of the elder, while the legislative assembly, the Vidhan Sabha, is the lower house, similar to the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha. Then the Article 169 deals with the creation or abolition of the legislative councils in the states. The parliament has the power to abolish the legislative council or create it, provided that the legislative assembly of the state passes a specific resolution like the Andhra Pradesh by a special majority. We have learned what is the special majority in the previous video. That is a majority of the total membership of the assembly along with the majority of not less than 2/3 of the members of the assembly who are present and voting. This act of the parliament is not an amendment of the constitution under the Article 168 and is passed like ordinary legislation. The state Punjab and the West Bengal abolished the second chamber in 1969 and 1970 respectively. Legislative Council in the Tamil Nadu was abolished in 1986. So now the composition of the state legislature. First of all, the strength. The legislative assembly, Vidhan Sabha, consists of the representatives which are directly elected by the people on the basis of universal adult franchise. The maximum strength of the legislative assembly is fixed, that is 500, and the minimum is 60. However, in case of the smaller states in terms of population such as Sikkim, it is 32 and Goa and Mizoram it is 40. In short, the maximum strength for the Vidhan Sabha is 500 and the minimum strength is 60. But in case of the smaller state, like the population is minimum, then the minimum strength is 40 in case of Goa and Mizoram. Then the territorial constitutions democration should be done as far as possible, such that the ratio between the population of each constituency and the number of seats allotted to it is the same all over the state. Apart from these general provisions, there are also special provisions with respect to the representations of SC and ST. In case the governor feels that the Anglo-Indian community is not adequately represented, he can nominate one member of that community to the assembly. It was prior to the 104th of the Constitutional Amendment Act. After this act, this type of Anglo-Indian, for the Anglo-Indian, the seat allocation by the governor is removed now. The members of the Legislative Council of the states are indirectly elected. The maximum strength of the Legislative Council of the state is fixed at 1/3 of the total strength of the corresponding state legislative assemblies, whereas the minimum strength of the Legislative Council should be 40. The system of composition of the council is provided for in the constitution is not final. The final power in this regard is given to the parliament. Delhi, Puducherry, Jammu and Kashmir are the only 3 union territories that have a legislative assembly. But after the J&K Reorganization Act 2019, J&K is removed. The manner of election for the Legislative Council, that is Vidhan Parishad. 1/3 are elected by the member of the local bodies in the state, such as municipalities. 1/12 by the graduates, 1/12 by the teachers, and 1/3 are elected by the Legislative Assembly of the state from amongst the persons who are not members of the assembly. The remainder are nominated by the governor from amongst the persons who have special knowledge or practical experience of the literature, science, art, cooperative movements and the social services. Thus, 5/6 of the total number of the members of the legislative councils are indirectly elected and 1/6 are nominated by the governor. The membership of the state legislature. The constitution lays down the following qualifications. The person who is going to be elected in the Vidhan Sabha or the Vidhan Parishad, he must be a citizen of India. He must not be less than 30 years of age in case of legislative council and not less than 25 years of age in case of legislative assembly. Also, the Representation of the People Act 1951 has provided that a person shall not be elected either to the legislative assembly or the council unless he is himself an elector for any legislative assembly constituency in the state. Now, the disqualification of the members who are elected in the Vidhan Sabha or Vidhan Parishad. A person can be disqualified for being selected as or for being a member of the legislative council or assembly if he holds an office of profit under the GOI or any state government other than that of a minister at the center or any state, or an office declared by a law of the state not to disqualify its holder. We have discussed what is the office of profit, so we don't need to go in that much deep. So the second is he is mentally unsound or declared by Supreme Court, then he is disqualified. If he is undischarged insolvent, if he is not an Indian citizen or voluntarily got a citizenship of the foreign state, or thus the Representation of the People Act 1951 has laid down some grounds of disqualification like a conviction by a court having been found guilty of electoral malpractice, being a manager or director of cooperative in which government possesses a financial interest, then that person is declared as disqualified. Under the Article 198, it says that if any question arises as to whether a member of a house of a legislature of a state has been subject to any of the disqualification mentioned above, the matter will be referred to the governor of the state, who has to act in accordance with the opinion of the election commission. His decision is final and not liable to be questioned in a court. Now, the presiding officer of the state legislature. In the Rajya Sabha we have the chairman, and Lok Sabha we have the speaker. Similar to that we have having in the Vidhan Sabha and the Vidhan Parishad. Each house has its presiding officer. There is a speaker and a deputy speaker for the Vidhan Sabha, and a chairman and a deputy chairman for the legislative council, that is Vidhan Parishad. The speaker is elected by the Vidhan Sabha itself from amongst its members. Normally, the speaker remains in office during the life of the assembly. However, he vacates his office earlier in the following three cases. If he stops being a member of the assembly, if he submits his resignation in written to the deputy speaker, and if he is removed by the majority of all members of the Vidhan Sabha. A resolution for the same can be moved only after giving 14 days advance notice regarding the same to that person. Then the speaker does not vacate his office on the dissolution of the assembly. If the assembly gets dissolved after the term of 5 years or any other means, but the speaker doesn't vacate his seat until the new assembly form. He continues to the speaker until the immediately before the first sitting of the assembly after the dissolution. Like I said, while the office of the speaker is vacant, the deputy speaker performs his duty. If the speaker is not there, then the deputy speaker performs that duty. The duties and the power of the speaker are, broadly speaking, the same as the speaker of the House of the People, that is Lok Sabha. Then some slight features regarding the speaker. The speaker is the final interpreter of the provisions of the Constitution of India, the rules of procedure and the conduct of the business of assembly and the legislative precedents within the assembly. He does not vote in the first instance. However, if there is a tie, then he votes. He has the power to decide whether the bill is the money bill or not, and his decision is final. He has the power to decide the questions of disqualification of a member of the assembly arising on the ground of defection. We have discussed what is the defection. The deputy speaker of the assembly. If the speaker is not present, then the work is done by the deputy speaker. The deputy speaker is also elected by the assembly itself amongst its own members. He is elected after the speaker. The deputy speaker remains in office normally during the life of the assembly. The deputy speaker performs the duties of the speaker office when it falls vacant. Now, the chairman of the council. The chairman is elected by the council from amongst its members. The chairman has to vacate his seats if he stops being a member of council, if he submits resignation, if he is removed by the majority of all the members of the council, and the resolution passed giving the 14 days prior notice, similar to the Rajya Sabha. The speaker has one power which is not enjoyed by the chairman, that is the money bill. The money bill is first introduced in the Vidhan Sabha and not in the Vidhan Parishad. So that is the one power that enjoyed by the speaker and not by the chairman. Now, if the chairman is not there, then comes the deputy chairman. Then same the deputy chairman is elected by the council from among its members. Then the facts about the chairman and the deputy chairman. When the resolution for the removal is under decision against the chairman or the deputy chairman, the concerned person shall not preside at the sitting. If I am the chairman and for my removal the resolution is going on, then I will be not chairing or presiding the session. He shall be entitled to vote only in the first instance on such resolution or on any other matter during such proceedings. In case of equality of votes, he does not exercise a casting vote to which he is otherwise entitled under the Article 189. Then the chairman presides at all sittings of the council and in his absence the deputy chairman. During the absence of the both chairman and the deputy chairman, such other person as may be determined by the rule of the procedure of the council shall preside. Or if no such person is present, such other person as may be determined by the council shall act as a chairman. While the office of the chairman is vacant, the duties of his office are performed by the deputy chairman. If the office of the deputy chairman is also vacant, such member of the council as the governor may appoint shall perform all the duties. Then the duration. The Legislative Assembly is not a continuous chamber. It is normally, its term is 5 years. It starts from the date of its first meeting after the election. However, the governor has the power to dissolve the assembly at any time, even before the completion of its term, to conduct fresh election. Also, the term of the assembly can be extended during the national emergency by the law of parliament for the duration of 1 year at a time. But this extension cannot continue after a period of 6 months after the emergency stopped. Then the Legislative Council is a continuing chamber which does not dissolve at any time. Only 1/3 of its members retires every second year. So the term of the office of an MLA is 6 years. Vacant seats are filling up at the beginning of every third year. The retiring members are eligible for the re-election for unlimited number of times. Now the sessions of the state legislature, similar to the parliament, Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, the summoning, adjournment, prorogation, the dissolution, quorum, the minimum number required. These are some terms which are there. Then comes the right of ministers and advocate general. In addition to every member of a house, all ministers and advocate general of the states also have the right to speak and take part in the proceedings of the house or any of its committees, of which he or she is named a member, however, without being entitled to vote. There are two reasons underlying this constitutional provision. If she or he can participate in proceedings of the house of which he is or she is not a member. A minister not a member of either of the house can also participate in the proceedings of both the house. Now the law-making powers of the state legislature in India. The state legislature has the power to make laws on the state list and the concurrent list. At the same time, the parliament and the state legislature both have the right to make the laws on the subject that are mentioned in the concurrent list. But if the contradiction arises, then between the union law and the state law, ultimately the law made by the parliament will prevail. The ordinary bill can be introduced in either of the house, but the money bill is always introduced in the Vidhan Sabha. It cannot be introduced in the Vidhan Parishad, and its powers to make the changes in the money bill are limited, similar to the Rajya Sabha. The functions of the state's legislative council are only advisory in nature. If any bill is passed by the assembly and sent to the council and the council refuses to give its approval, then the assembly has the right to reconsider it. The assembly may pass it or with or without the amendment proposed by the council and again send it to the council. When a bill is approved by the assembly is sent to the council for the first time, it may return, but the second time the council has to give or the second time and it kept in the council for the 1 month only, the bill is deemed to have been passed. This evidently demonstrates the assembly's absolutely superiority over the legislative council. In case of the money bill, the state assembly's powers are the same as those of the Lok Sabha. Even in theory, it cannot be compared to the Rajya Sabha that, in spite of being the upper chamber of the union legislature, have some effective powers. All the legislative council can do is delay the passing of the money bill for 14 days, a non-money bill by 3 months, or a non-money bill that is sent back to it with the recommendation by 1 month. There is no provisions in the constitution for a joint sitting of the state legislature. It is to be noted that while the Vidhan Sabha can override the Vidhan Parishad, then vice versa is never possible. A non-money bill that is passed by the Vidhan Parishad can be rejected by the Vidhan Sabha more than once. The council members do not participate in the election of the president of the country. Apart from that, they do not have any meaningful role in any bill's rectification nor in the constitution amendment. After the bill has been passed by the both houses of the state legislature, it is sent to the governor for his assent. The governor has the option to set back the bill for the reconsideration and if the bill is passed again, then the governor must give his assent to the bill. He cannot withhold it. Like the president, the governor has the power to issue an ordinance on the state subject. When the legislature not in the session, these ordinances have the force of law. The ordinances which have been issued are ultimately laid before the state legislature when it resembles. It ends being in operation after the expiry of 6 weeks, unless rejected by the legislature before that period. If approved, the legislature passes a regular bill to become a law in order to replace the ordinance. Then some financial powers of the state legislature, that is Vidhan Sabha, has strict control over the finance of the state. Money bill is introduced in the first instance only in the Vidhan Sabha. The money bill, among other things, includes authorization for the expenditure to be incurred by the government along with the imposition or abolition of taxes, borrowing, etc. Such a bill is introduced by Minister of the State Government on the recommendation of the governor. The money bill in the case cannot be introduced by a private member. The Speaker of the Vidhan Sabha has the sole responsibility of certifying that a particular bill is a money bill. After a money bill has been passed by the Vidhan Sabha, it is then sent to the Vidhan Parishad. It has the job to returning the bill within 14 days, either or with or without its recommendation, as we have discussed earlier. Then the bill goes to the governor. The governor gives his assent or gives some recommendation for it. Then the position of the state legislature. The state legislature occupies the same position in the state as the parliament at the central level. However, there are some differences in the degree of their relative powers. There are several limitations of the powers of the state legislature with respect to the union government. What are those limitations? The prior consent of the President of India is needed for the introduction of some bills regarding the certain matters. The reservation of particular bills by the governor for the President assents. Such bills can become laws only after the President has given his assent to them. Certain limitations can be imposed by the Rajya Sabha. During national emergency, the Parliament is empowered to pass a law on any subject enumerated in the state list. Such a law operates during the period of the emergency and for the further 6 months. During the operation of the constitutional emergency in the state, Article 365, the Parliament gets the power of making laws for that particular state. The discretionary powers of the governor of the state are also a limitation on the state legislature. Whenever he or she acts in his or her discretion, he or she is beyond the jurisdiction of the state legislature. The governor can even dissolve the state legislature assembly while acting in his discretion. So that was all about the state legislature, the Vidhan Sabha, the Legislative Assembly, and the Vidhan Parishad, Legislative Council. So we have discussed the composition, strain, the speaker, chairman of the Lok Sabha and the Vidhan Parishad and the Vidhan Sabha. So that was all about the state legislature. I hope you understand all of them very well. If you have any doubt, don't hesitate to ask me in the comment section, and do like, subscribe and share with your friends, and click on the bell icon to get notification on time. Thank you. Have a good day.